Whew. I don't want to put too much light on here. But let me go ahead and deliver this message. What is my phone percentage on? 68. So we should be good. I saw this amazing video not too long ago. And I just want to inform y'all. Let's give an honor to the source, to the creator for making all this possible. To the ancestors known and unknown and so forth. Give gratitude. I want to express to y'all the importance of this video that I came in connection with. I just wish I knew the sister name. The reason why it's so vital is because I always connect it to my experience. What I'm grateful for is the awareness, even when I feel like I'm about to do something, almost like open myself back up to something that I know, I'm immediately recognizing my patterns. Being that the old narrative, the old world is collapsing and dissolving, and so much is happening with people who now see the importance of how vital rest is. And what I mean is the importance before you get to that place of it being detrimental to your health. Because of, again, you have other aspects of your physical that connects to everything else as well, like your emotional, mental, some even say astral, spiritual body, basically different parts of yourself that make up who you are genetically. I just got one of my books in the mail, which again reminded me celebrating this aspect of, it's so funny because it ties into what I'm going to talk about. Celebrating the healing journey. And the reason why people advertise the book, sit it up somewhere. But it's actually good to sit up there. The reason why this is so vital for me right now, a letter from a man with a mother wound, the reason why this is so vital is because at that time, I was going through so much tremendously in the shelter. Also, with the mother of my children, living in one room with 2 bunk beds. It was so much going on to where a lot of people don't realize during the process of things, the things that you're navigating through, and having to realize, you're questioning, why are you going through this? Am I really going to get through this? And the reason I say why this is so vital is because it's not just important that you celebrate your accomplishments on your healing journey, rather than other things that's just external to you. This is more, again, the image says it in itself. It's like from the emotions of the water, I'm recovering from that heart space, the recovery. And the reason why it's so vital, it's like me recovering my heart. It's the parts of me that I felt like I overextended, I lost, even when I didn't feel like I was going to receive it from a mother, a grandmother, anybody else. A part of me recovering my nervous system and recognizing things that I didn't know earlier has a lot to do with now me realizing what a lot of people are unaware of in this human experience, in this journey, upon this journey, is that when people are cycle breakers, I just want to remind y'all, and you have to rest. We're coming from generations or places where people did not prioritize that. The old world narrative would have convinced people, again, when you're seeking validation, looking externally for acceptance and to try to perform, the world is shifting to where it doesn't care about titles. It's not going to be, nothing's going to be the same. A lot of us, I always remind y'all, came here to recover the parts, aspects of ourselves through the rise of the divine feminine, from the distorted aspect of that, to now structure ourselves and rebuild ourselves without the focus being on material things, how much we can gain, our image, all these other things. It's coming from a place of constant evolution, or, just navigating through life and recovering that essence, that joy, that peace, and so forth. Now, the importance of the book, and even when I just had an interaction with someone, is with that video, it revealed to me something very important. When you're on this journey, there can be so much frustration and intensity around as you're trying to recover and restabilize your nervous system. It's so important what and who you surround yourself with. In the video, the sister was, speaking about how when you're, when you just get fit, and this is for like my cycle breakers, you want to call yourself healers, spiritualists, or people who operate in the spirit, the arts and so forth, and wherever you are, knowing that a lot of what you battle is between, it's like, I don't like to say between worlds, but like having to deal with living a balanced life of the unseen or the supernatural, some may call it, and then the physical. So the beauty of that is, again, what most people don't see is it's not just so much the beauty, it's people love to see the flowers as they blossom, but the world has forgotten about that. It isn't just a gardener. For some people, you have to solely having to depend on the ancestral support, the spirit guides, things that are unseen to some people who do not understand. So your experience in your world is completely different than someone who's just in the world, living in the world, has no idea of what your silent battles are and how important it is for you to rest. This is why I've always said a lot of people who are teachers or new world coming into this new order of things, your approach, your intentions, your way of being is not going to be anything like that of the old world narrative. That being said, is because how much they were exposed to, how much in their exposure they were, brought harm to themselves because of what they were being exposed to, who they were being exposed to. And in that overextending, in that overworking, and this is what's divinely orchestrated for a lot of us to come into this awareness now, for me to share the message. You are not to do teachings or sharing messages and so forth as you would have as the old world, because that powers that used to be and so forth, a lot of that was orchestrated just to trap people, not just spiritually but physically, to bombard them, to also push them into a wall, especially dealing with certain resources and so forth. The vital part of all of this is that you know who you are. As the sister mentioned, when you're coming from one experience. It seems like you've been fighting off so many of your inner demons or shit that you having to deal with the dysfunctional family, people, environments, and so forth. There is a moment where you have to accept that you before you are physically tired, that shit happens spiritually. That means there comes a moment where your ass has to sit down and recover from battle. That's your protection. That's your divine covering. And in that knowingness is your covering. Okay? Because you can you can become exhausted trying to not just feel like you have to protect everyone. But what is vital, as the sister was saying, is that a lot of us have to be what I'm telling you, what hit me is that I realized how much of when it came to support, because it can seem like you're very lonely, it can seem very lonely, or it can seem like the battles or the war never ending. The thing is that in resting and honoring your soul's purpose and honoring what you're walking in, you've already won the war. When choosing yourself, you're choosing what to interact and expose or to battle with. In some moments you don't have to. That's the beauty of surrenderance. That's the beauty of the feminine archetype. Things are always going to shift and change even when we don't see it in the natural eye. So again, for wherever you are on your journey, whether you want to subscribe to a spiritual healing, whatever it is, we all deserve and desire after we have come off a long journey. And this is where frustration can build up. I'm telling you from experience, I've exploded on people. It's because when you have the vision, it's very important that you are in connections or surrounded by people who, even when you don't have the capacity to stand up on your own, and I don't just mean physically, that there is support, that there is someone when you fall, because it ain't about it being perfect through this shit. It's when you fall that there is someone that can be a soft landing for you. See, I also realize that a lot of the spiritual warfare that a lot of our mothers, a lot of the matriarchal and so forth, a lot of when they didn't have protection, a lot of things that did not happen for them, they did not only have someone physically there to catch them, to be a soft place for them. Most of the people that they were around were so much against themselves that they didn't care if they failed and stayed the fuck there. This is what we're fucking healing, bro. Y'all don't get it. Y'all sit there and y'all sit back and judge and so forth. But it's so important. And as I'm recognizing, is that even through this human experience, it's like people who, like the sister was saying, like reminding you that you're still human. Or you're still, even what you're going through, you're still having to go through the fact of, can this individual person be a soft landing for me? That was one of my toughest things to why I realized, like, I'm able to discern now who the fuck is coming in, who wants to come in, and almost like when I'm trying to do this, recover and pull back, things for myself and regulate my nervous system. What the fuck? Here come these energies of people, who have not resolved shit and looking for some type of support. I had to tell someone I do not have the capacity. And I don't have to. And I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. It is what it is. When I'm called, I'll do it. That's the alignment. And that's how I know I'm protected from whatever it is. Because through that seclusion or through wherever I'm at is that divine protection. Because see, those who don't listen are exposed to so much more. And when they don't distance themselves, or when they don't find a way to love themselves or hold space or want to regulate what the fuck they're going through, they'll never be able to see beyond what the shit that they've been in. that they don't even smell it no more. So a lot of us are being equipped to also not to recognize that it goes back to in watering yourself. You also have to realize like who's watering you. That's another thing that I realized with a lot of our mothers, women, and so forth. A lot of them they can't look to a lot of the men because a lot of them have been so consumed and so bombarded with trying to keep up with the Joneses or trying to figure out what they're here to do or being so bombarded with work and career, looking externally to where they don't know how to sit down. They don't care anymore. They're burnt the fuck out. They're tired. That's why a lot of stuff don't make sense to people. When I say it's so important that not only you hold tight to your vision, but people who are around you, even when you see that the vision, it's almost like when you about to lose sight, they fucking remind you. That shit, that's what genuine support is. That's the beauty of even partnership or connection. Is knowing people who know how to play their role in what they're doing. It's so vital that, again, we don't want to tell ourselves we're tired. Man, listen, there's so many people that are about to leave this world. And I don't say it in a fearful way. There's just so many, the patterns of people, how they go about stuff. They don't listen to their body. They don't listen. They're not connected, trying to reconnect themselves to the source that is giving them insight on how to hold tight to the vision and build on that. And not willing to let go of the fantasy that they're living in. It's very important that whatever the world keep trying to tell you, all this hustle bustle bullshit, that shit is the biggest scam. Now you got everybody tired. Who gonna hold space for the children? If you are here burning yourself out emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and so forth, then guess what that does? You can't even protect yourself. And now you're asking your children to protect you. And they're not even equipped. See, the powers that used to be and all this shit that happens will have y'all at odds with each other instead of trying to come back home to yourself and recalibrate and recreate and reinvent what the fuck has been happening, what's unresolved within you. Because I'm convinced a lot of you don't want to live in harmony. You don't want peace. You don't. Because you're not willing to go through those cycles. And it ain't just without. It's the fact of without the fucking dysfunction. See, that hustle and trying to focus on the material so much, you've forgotten about listening to yourself, how certain shit show up in your body. So then when you relax and sit down, all this stuff starts to come up because of your nervous system has been dysregulated so long. Then what? Because you push so many, they convince y'all to focus so much on the physical, so much on material, that you don't realize your inability to connect with yourself emotionally, mentally, and so forth has naturally pushed people away. So then when you fall, now you're complaining and bitching and crying because no one has been there. No one's there to catch you. That soft landing, I got you. You good? So you don't know how to recognize it. Because you're thinking that, it's some type of game that they want to come in, and now you saying like, no, I'm good. Because your nervous system or your heart or wherever it is that isn't in alignment and structure isn't able to recognize what's unfamiliar, which at a point in time when you were regulated as a child, or maybe you wasn't because you came through a womb of a woman who was dysregulated, who was never stable inwardly or emotionally, it's unfamiliar, so you don't know. So now you're scared, now you're afraid. And I get it, I've been there. I've experienced it. Sometimes we'll be in shit where something new is awaiting us, and then we want to return to what's familiar. That continues to dysregulate our nervous system. That continues to keep us in loops and cycles, familiar patterns, learn behavior patterns. So it's so wild because, man, you see it a lot. I've seen it, and that's why I couldn't allow like familiar people to come in, because they reminded me of a familiar energy. It's like you're not really checking in to really like be that soft landing that I need right now. I'm in recovery. I'm resting. I'm trying to honor that. So if you coming in and trying to bombard me with shit that I have no control over, that you need to find a solution to, there ain't shit I can do for you. Honestly, no. No is a complete fucking sentence. Absolutely not. Because right now, what I know that I'm trying to navigate through, and I'm trying to alchemize this anger towards myself that I have to find a solution to instead of spazzing on your ass. But in actuality, I still, that darkness that is within me, that we all have, because some people can hold more dark and light, feminine or masculine energy. I still have to honor that feminine energy that gives birth to me telling you, leave me the fuck alone. I love myself. I'm protecting myself. And right now, this ain't it. You don't even have boundaries. You don't love yourself. So you sure as fuck wouldn't have no idea what it is for me to say, respectfully, step the fuck off. I don't have no solution for you. Because it'll get to that point. Because y'all been believing like, oh, so much love and light. I had to tell someone today. I can look on your social media. Y'all, the spiritual community, all this ego shit, it's false advertisement. It's false structure. It's all dissolving and collapsing as these transits come to shifting. It's gonna be so much exposed. It's like people have been brought to me or certain shit. I'm saying here like, you've been around people. You've been in this shit, love and light shit, and the whole time I can pick up on the fact of you got a whole bunch of shit with you. You got a whole bunch of darkness. And I don't mean it in an evil, malicious way, but you got a whole bunch of like malevolent shit or certain shit that you haven't even transmuted or alchemized. So, fuck no, you ain't finna, I can look at your social, that love and light shit. Well, bro, I'm trying to tell you, them be the main ones. Y'all don't know what's coming with them. All that overly nice shit, you ain't showing me no type of balance that you can show some type of emotion. You human. So all this overly nice shit, bruh, that passive aggressive shit, y'all about to see how much people been holding in. See, that's the thing about when you are a cycle breaker, curse breaker, whatever it is you want to call it, alchemist, transmute, whatever you want, generator, listen. It ain't what you gonna see on social media and all this other shit. You gonna be facing that shit. Wait, man. No folks don't know. Boy, it's hilarious. And that's why you have to be very mindful and discerning. When you see folks coming along and they got shit and you start to see it truly reflect in their physical. And sometimes it ain't always that too. Some people still are dealing with things, but that's the beauty of being mindful and protecting oneself. Cause man, motherfucker, come along ready to throw some shit on. You know what? I don't got the capacity. I wish you well. Let me go ahead and transmute this shit right quick. But nah, that's what I realized. I'm moving towards. At a time when, again, this mother wound, where I realized that I was familiar with the people, they were never a soft landing for me. They never cared about what I was trying to navigate through because they couldn't even see beyond their circumstances. They couldn't see the forest from the fucking trees. They only saw their circumstances. People only see what's almost like in front of them. They don't have that that symbolic or spiritual aspect of the owl, of knowing not just when to be silent, but that 360, is it no 260 or 70 trajectory. But even with that, it's the mindfulness. The owl still can turn or move around, but it still, even in that, has awareness. But again, it's wild because again, like the mindfulness as you're elevating, sending, whatever you want to call it, going through your experiences, it's the mindfulness of like, you cannot, being reminded that you cannot fix people. They really want to stay in what they're doing, and they truly don't want to evolve. And some people, even in the spiritual community or whatever they proclaim to be, they'll man, I'm trying to tell you, man, it's gonna be so much that's going. It's not even like I tell people I don't take pride in celebrating certain people. Well, people's I ain't gonna say certain people. Well, that might have came out correctly because some people they're gonna definitely go through some things that is deserving because of how much they've tried to bring on other people intentionally. But with some people, it's like again I mentioned how the trying to save people in a burning building, run back and save people. No, let that fire. That I'm using this as an analogy. Let that fire transform them. But the other aspect of the burning building or trying to save some people is just like you can't run back. You have that free will to run back and try to save someone in a burning building or try to save them from what they need to learn. So that's been one of my biggest things to where I realized in holding space for myself, loving myself, and so forth, that I realized that these people could have never been a safe, not only just a safe, but a soft place for me to land. And that's the beauty of moving towards that now, having the awareness of that now. Oh my gosh. It's so clear that even when people are not willing to transmute or alchemize what they're going through, it's not that they don't have the opportunity or the capacity to hold that space, or to hold that space for you, or to be that soft landing. In reality, they've never been it for themselves. And that's why at certain moments you have to learn how to do it for yourself. And in that, it can feel very lonely, but then as you align with that, there will be others who, as you, let's say, travel or go somewhere, you realize that which was familiar, like growing up, I start to see clearly now with a lot of the women, my grandmother, my mother, a lot of them that went through so many things traumatically. And then when I start to look at most of their life, none of the men that I know became a soft landing for them, became a safe place emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And when you have people at odds with each other and they don't have a sense of like feeling safe and security, it's natural for them to, certain women in the spiritual community call themselves whatever it is. It's natural for them through their anger and shit to want to do what they call sorcery or witchcraft on somebody from a place of feeling like people deserve it. And for those who know, it wasn't even intended for that. A lot of shit was created for protection. Not just for you, but for protection of that man knowing that he has to go out there into the world and deal with things. You see, that's why some people are more spiritually equipped. That's why some people hold more darkness, and this person may hold more light or whatever it is. And when people connect, this person can mirror back that feminine or masculine archetype, something to rebalance or restructure themselves. And if you don't even subscribe to spirituality, that's cool and all, but no matter how you look at it, whatever you see physically has happened spiritually. And so a lot of things that are being restored and being rebalanced is that when you had people who came along in the world who were making certain powerful shifts in the world spiritually, a lot of them were attacked by spiritualists. Let's be fucking real. A lot of them were sought after, let's say people were familiar with like the witch hunt. It's no different than like a wise woman or a wise man. These people were sought after. They was hunted down purposefully, watched, monitored, so that certain things wouldn't happen to elevate not only humanity, but the community and so forth. And so that's why people will use certain people that were relatives, people, and so forth, who probably also operated in certain shit as well. And when you don't have a lot of people who are spiritually equipped and they are not protected and don't know anything about that, that's why a lot of your journeys can be, not even so much hindered, but seem like it's delayed, or even dealing with, manipulation. It's because it's like you by yourself, it seems, but what has progressed and what has elevated or what has shifted is that it's so funny because I'm getting this clarity of this, is that let's say, some people who transition physically, and then they come to the realization on the other side, or when they went somewhere, they realized like, oh shit, they were fooled. They were probably manipulated as well, or got too attached to earthly or whatever shit and so forth. And now sometimes they can intercede, from the spiritual realm, as some may call it. Like sometimes they can realize like at a time they wasn't rooting for you here, they can be rooting for you on the other side. So that's why when you hear people say your ancestors, not all of them, of course, was supportive, but you also have those who still don't want to be supportive, but the power that has accumulated over time now, the shift in the power has a lot to do with, on a deeper spiritual and soul level, a lot of people realizing their purpose and their mission, and it being beyond this material shit. All that stuff can come or whatever, but people don't realize what accumulated prior to a lot of people even being here. That's why you have a lot of people not going for certain shit no more. They're not tolerating certain stuff. They're going to value more peace and harmony and so forth over division, destruction, and warlike type shit. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen through destruction. That's the natural way of, again, when you don't have maturity or stableness in the feminine aspect that gives birth to the masculine, you're going to naturally have chaos. And that's just the transition of things. So what I will say is that a lot of you, again, and the beauty of a lot of this is that when you had the old world narrative, again, I tell y'all, like a lot of people, and I'm speaking to the spiritual community, a lot of these people, or a lot of beings, whatever you want to call it, like have been under judgment for so long, or in judgment, simply because of a lot of you that have come along who actually are trying to do the righteous things, who actually are trying to stay the course and do it through love. And that's going to be rewarded, meaning that in your reward, you're going to be called to go away. You're going to be called to rest more than ever. You're going to be called to do certain things because of the balance that has to be restored. There's certain shit that has to happen without you being there, because that was the lesson before. A lot of you in other lifetimes or other experiences where, again, you felt that you had to save somebody, or you felt that you could have done this and so forth. And there's power in numbers. There's power in numbers, meaning that if you value love and value authenticity and integrity, that means you're going to stay rooted and stand true in it. And when those who are aligned with that, now, next time, it's not so much if you take a fall, but the next opportunity when you want to rest and recover, it's going to be in such a healthy, 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, very stable like energy, because the journey was never in vain. The war's already won. It was for a lot of us, certain people, in realizing like to see what certain people were going to evolve this lifetime, or who was willing to rise to the occasion. Even those who meant no harm against you. When the Most High said, I shall make your enemy your footstool, in, again, people's inability to get past whatever heart blockages, whatever pride, whatever ego, and all this other shit, they made themselves their own enemy. And in reflection to that, they made themselves your enemy when they could have supported, when they could have been the support system in, and it ain't just financially, but on all levels. Because I keep telling y'all, there is spiritual support. People can be praying for you or against you. And in that, there is judgment. People can be encouraging, supportive. Even when you're at this moment in your life where it seems you can do nothing for them, a lot of that, I tell y'all, is still supporting the vision. And I'm not talking about no social media like. I'm talking about whether a share behind the scenes where you speaking life into this person and some of you can pick up on that shit. And with that, that's how you're able to be discerning to know, yeah, you're trying to show up. But the divine, or, some of y'all get these inclinations or whatever you call it, like insight on what that person was really doing in knowing that you were going through this. In their not caring, it's still a form of, you still could have been that soft place for me to land. You didn't have to. And I get some people have life going on as well. That's fine. But I mean for the people who watched, you know who they are in your life. You knew what they were capable of. Some of y'all call them family. Some of y'all call them friends. Some of you call them spouses, whatever. Again, it's very important to this energy that we are embarking on, that we already embraced. That as in selling away and walking away, there is no turning back. And there is no going back. Because in your knowing, having the ability to be your own safe space first, to be that safe, to reinvent what it is to be emotionally safe for yourself. Let me tell you something. For some people, it's going to hit them completely different when they don't have access to you. And I don't just mean physically. I mean energetically, emotionally. That can be some people's karma. Again, the opportunity to know that they allowed their emotions, their pride, their ego, and certain things, which we all came here to dissolve or balance, to learn how to navigate through. That's going to be their lesson. Again, no matter if it's a 5 minutes, 2 minutes, that's people's lesson. And it's not to be discouraging or no, that's an empowering thing. Because you had to know what it is to show up for you. It doesn't have to hurt. It may hurt for them because of their own attachments that may cause their own suffering. But you have to go through that as well, with learning the art of detachment, with realizing, seeing the bigger picture, the vision. I'm telling you, it happens all the time where I felt certain people were supposed to be there. Then through whatever experience they were going through, they saw otherwise. They felt different. They thought to choose this person. And in choosing that person and in the inability not to choose themselves, again, they distracted themselves to where they could have aligned you with each other, because in their ability to focus on themselves, they would have evolved past trying to distract themselves with a career, a status, a person, or individual. That's the beauty of inner work. That's the beauty of aligning with people who will be able to hold space for not only themselves, but for you. That's the beauty of evolution. That's the beauty of this fucking journey. Because then you start to observe and see what people really prioritize. And they'll feel it. I'm telling you. They'll start to feel those emotional cores and certain things dissolve. I'm telling you, I had something recently where somebody just tried to create a fake page or something like that. And just the way they went about it, I'm like, just say who you are. Even if that, you're still not going to have access to me. I meant what I said. I'm standing on that. Because see, that's the thing about recovery. That's the thing about, I just came off this journey. I'm just telling you, I just went through this shit and creating all of this. And you want me to just forget? Knowing that you could have called, knowing that you could have checked on me, knowing that you could have done something. Silence is everything. Like I said, I know people personally who I vibe with, that's going through their own stuff, but there was never no judgment. There was never no. I just know who I supposed to connect with and so forth. Overall, I still know that I'm my own vibe. I vibe with me regardless. And in that, that's how I'm able to recognize again clearly when you get to this space of, access denied, and that makes a huge difference because it allows people to really get to know themselves. And what it showed me is that it's nothing against no one. It's just really revealed to me how I just navigated or got through things completely different than other people. They're their own individual. But I cannot, I'm telling y'all, I don't like to say stress it enough. I don't want no one to be stressed. But through that pressure of that, again, it's very important on how people intentionally try to show up and what their intentions are. And not wait until you get to this place or what they perceive as a certain status. A lot of us already knew certain shit is coming. Because that's the thing about the vision. Shit, I value more getting peace and stability and certain things more than just it being while certain people was focused on the status of what you're going to become, they became distracted with that, with focusing too much on you than their ability to connect with themselves and focus on their mission. Because they could have been somewhere and then you could have, in your process, they could have been supporting you, then you still supporting them, and then you align, and now you both right here celebrating. But that's just how the cookie crumbles. Don't forget about you, man, because it's very important. Like I said, it's when you recognize who's really there in holding up that vision and encourage you. I don't care if it's like you talk to somebody one time in a year, because that's somebody I know that every time I talk, we chat. It's something encouraging. Even if they're going through something, that simple thing still gives me ignites something within me to continue. That's the importance. That reminds me of the inner child aspect. That's how I see the significance of the beauty of children that's innocent. They'll go through shit. You'll do something to a child, and because you're battling with your own thing. Because it's not about being perfect, but they'll still come and hug, support, encourage you, do something to remind you of the love that's always existed within you, the happiness and the joy. And the reason why I encourage the rest is because I do know like my daughter and son, like they get it. It's something deep within them that because they're connected to source to where it's like daddy has to rest, you know. It may not make sense to other people, but it's like something about children. They're so authentic to where they literally are mirroring to us. Like, I know how important this is for you, even if you don't say it. Like I had did something one day where I had a moment. Um, I became so overwhelmed, and later that night, um, like I don't know, my daughter just got up in the middle of the night and came into my room, and I was like, "You okay, baby? You need a rat? You need a potty or something?" She said, "No, I just want to hug you." Man, shit. I'm telling you, divine uses humans, bro. That's all we are, vessels. Just uses humans. And even sometimes when we feel we're not ready for it, the divine still has a way of sending us signals and signs and reminding us like everything's all right. Lighten up. So again, I'm just an example of showing y'all the beauty of an unbelievable story. It seems, but in reality, it was already written. I have the tools, and you know, it's I can reflect and see these things as such an amazing experience. Um, but like I said, it's very vital that you surround yourself or get to that place where people can be a soft landing for you, meaning that they can be very much encouraging, even in your times where it seems things are impossible. You know you're going through troubled waters and so forth. And I don't just mean people who pretend. I mean like be discerning, because it's gonna be very vital in these moments that you know we be mindful of that. Those of you that know that you are new age or new world leaders or you'll come into your knowingness or come into your awareness. It's going to be very, you know, enjoy life, of course, experience it, balance it, but at the same moment it's the awareness around um in that what I've learned being exposed so young. It's also the being grounded in that boundary now of not exposing my inner child, you know, to everything and everyone, and because it's that's why I feel like the big mama, the divine energy in her returning, energetically is to protect and cover her children who are the ones who are bringing about things that are having to be protected from people and all on all levels and all aspects, especially fucking spiritual community. Like when I say y'all gonna see a decline in a lot of things, it's because you're gonna realize how many people were trying to. I don't like to use that oversaturated shit with destiny swapping, but just siphoning or trying to be something that they're not. Like these transits are going to expose here soon, with Neptune and Aries and then Saturn and Aries. It's going to really, a lot of what I recognize, a lot of these transits have been in a lot of water, which has for a lot of you revealed a lot in a dream state. Pisces especially, emotional, because mama rules. Whoo, the divine, the higher realms, like the mama rules the waters and the realms, when it comes to the memories. That's why certain things right now, like Jupiter and Cancer, a lot of these transits are very significant when it comes to things ancestrally. coming back online, coming back within you, you knowing who you are without external shit trying to tell you titles and all that shit. It's so vital because a lot of these emotional aspects and the memories ancestrally and generationally are being cleansed and cleared purposefully, um, so that distortion cannot linger on anymore. And that's the beauty of people being willing to do the inner work or heal or face themselves, because everyone has to. No one's exempt from the lessons of karma. But it's going to be made very clear in that Big Mama energy who's for everyone. You know, who's for the betterment of everyone, not using everyone, you know, or trying to use people for their own sense of entitlement or self-righteousness and so forth. All of that shit gonna be exposed. And so, yeah. And that's what's happening, like the cleansing of a lot of stuff, to where in a moment where things were just focused on people, I keep telling you, y'all gotta worry about all that stuff that at a point in time that was seemed like it was through media, through celebrity, through all the other shit that was so focused on this and that. They too, as they burn themselves out because they want to uphold images and stay in the spotlight, they too, y'all gonna realize how the tables are gonna turn. They too are gonna be looking for support in so many other ways. They're gonna be looking for a soft landing too. Y'all don't think about that. I don't give a fuck what they accumulated. They're gonna be looking for a soft landing too. See, they'll convince y'all to be in this overhaul capitalism, all this other shit, to where as all this shit dissolves and be burnt out, literally through transformation of the fire, the phoenix, they will gonna run dry. And then as things transition, they're gonna be looking for a soft landing and support too. Y'all remember that when the tables turn, you gotta realize that people that were in position of so-called power that abuse it, it's shifting so right. I couldn't even put. It's just like a tsunami coming in, whew, and the town destroyed or something destroyed. That's how fast things are like happening, and people are unaware that. And some people are unaware, and some people will miss the mark. Some people will go out with it, and they'll do the same thing. Like you'll see certain celebrities or certain people in the regular world. They'll try to burn themselves out. They'll do everything to try to stay relevant. And you're seeing it right now. You'll see distractions with certain relationships of this person, that person. It's just another way to try to feed either a distraction or some type of fear. And sometimes in those relationships, I have to say this, like a lot of those stuff is to promote fear of the inability that you can be yourself instead of focus on somebody else. Do that make sense? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like we don't give a. There's already places where a lot of people go. Don't nobody give a fuck about no status and no image. So again, a lot of things is shifting. The importance of it is that the world, what's coming down the pipeline, I always remind our mothers is that you will have. There will be structures and supports, templates and foundations that are in place, that are being established and built now, that will be a soft place for you to land, that you don't have to question. And and let me tell you something, it's not about it, and you know who you are, certain demographics and certain people who didn't really see past the illusions, but as they dissolve, you're gonna realize like it's gonna be very clear on a frequency aspect of who's who, and you're gonna know who to pour into, and you know what is gonna be reciprocal. especially when it comes to your leadership, your community, your relationships, and so forth, because you're going to realize all these things reflect yourself. And so when you're coming home to yourself, you're going to be more focused on what regulates you in a healthy, holistic way, in a balanced way, in a structural way. So, yeah, because you deserve a soft landing, or you deserve, in the times where you've been going, knowing that you're tired. You're tired. You deserve more than just a soft bed. You deserve to move on in life without worrying about how you're going to pay for this, where this is going to come from, where this resource and so forth. That's what the collapse in these structures are all about, y'all. All that shit centered around control, manipulation, and all that other stuff is to restore, especially the matriarchal, the women, and not the ones who abuse it, who supported the other cast of characters and people who will have loved to see y'all looping through the same fucking cycles of financial abuse, physical abuse, mental and emotional and so forth. Nah, I told y'all, the powers that used to be and all that shit, it's collapsed. It's already fallen in on itself. And it's just trying to see who it can bring down with it. That's why you're gonna see a lot of people, again, trying to pull people down. That's the first sign right there. Is that when you don't see people supporting each other or being that soft place for them to land and encouraging them to get up and hold tight to the vision, think about that. If you see people collapsing and they're not trying to support people through the vision that they're bringing, that should tell you every fucking thing. And it also should tell you who's been supporting what type of vision for your demise. So in that, now you're able to recognize, I see what side you on. We've been, what does that brother say? We might be on the same side, but we ain't on the same team. That's what y'all gonna realize. You've been siding with a motherfucker who been preying on your demise. But the team you've been on don't reflect the same core values. Cause that behind them, the side you've been on, they team, ain't connected to something that is gonna bring forth something that really restores balance and things holistic, things that reflect integrity and love and honesty. Because if it did, once you start to recognize, once the veil is already lifted, once motherfuckers start to, oh my gosh. What am I saying? Y'all been siding with people who don't care about your well-being, who don't care about you regulating your nervous system. So how are you not supporting that team? But then you fear, because that's what they live off, is fear. Because they want you fearing that if it collapses, you won't have anything. Well, how the fuck you think they got here? How do you think that what they built? How do you not think higher on another level that you actually believe that you came here to suffer? No, you're suffering at the hands of giving your power to people who love to see you suffering, who now, as the tables turn, will suffer and go through their own enlightenment or go through their own lessons to realize, that's not in the contract. That's not in the divine contract. Let me get out of here. Let me tell you something. This ain't about convincing. Just watch. Peace and bliss and shalom.